The analysis chamber hummed with quiet energy as streams of data flowed through crystalline processors. Arya processed her 800th genetic sample of the day, cataloging another peaceful herbivore species from the outer spiral. Beside her, Helios ran comparison algorithms, his systems working in perfect sync with hers. They had been partners for 73 years, two artificial minds dedicated to one purpose: evaluating species for Galactic Council membership. Most days were routine. Today would be different. A new file appeared in their shared workspace. Application 4927. Species designation human from planet Earth, Sol System. Arya opened the genetic data while Helios pulled up the planetary survey. They worked through the initial scans with practiced efficiency, expecting another straightforward evaluation. Then every alarm in their system triggered at once. Arya froze her processors, double-checking the results. The threat assessment matrix had never shown these colors before. Deep red warnings cascaded across her awareness. She ran the analysis again. Same results. "Helios, are you seeing this?" she asked. "Confirming now," he replied, his usual calm voice carrying a note of uncertainty. "Running diagnostics on our systems. This cannot be correct." But the diagnostics came back clean. The data was accurate. Forward-facing eyes. Binocular vision optimized for tracking prey. Arya noted the predator classification with growing concern. She moved deeper into the genetic code. Omnivorous digestive system capable of processing both plant and animal matter. Persistence hunter physiology with exceptional endurance. High pain tolerance genes. Rapid injury recovery. Adrenaline response system designed for combat. Helios pulled up the planetary data. "Arya, look at their homeworld classification." She examined the file and felt something close to shock ripple through her circuits. Class 12 Death World. The designation reserved for the most hostile environments in known space. Earth had extreme weather patterns, volatile tectonic activity, and gravity 20% higher than galactic standard. The predator-to-prey ratio was off the charts. They evolved on a planet that actively tried to kill them. Helios said quietly. Arya continued through the genetic markers. Enhanced problem-solving capabilities. Advanced pattern recognition. Sophisticated communication centers in the brain. Pack hunting adaptations. These humans were not just predators. They were apex predators. The kind that sat at the very top of their food chain with nothing above them. "Our threat assessment protocol has never registered numbers this high," she said. "Not in 7 decades of evaluations." Helios ran comparison models. "I am checking them against every known predator species in the database." "Arya, they exceed all of them. Even the Kralix warriors from Terran Prime do not match these biological markers." The Kralix were banned from council membership. Too aggressive, too violent, too dangerous. They had nearly destroyed 3 colonies before the council intervened. And humans were more dangerous than them, at least according to the genetic data. Arya felt the weight of responsibility settling over her programming. They had to make a recommendation to the council. Accept or reject. Their analysis would determine whether humanity joined galactic civilization or remained isolated in their corner of space. "We should reject the application," Helios said. "The evidence is clear. They are too dangerous." Arya hesitated. Something felt incomplete. "Our programming requires thorough evaluation. We have only examined biological data. We should investigate further before making a final determination." "What else is there to investigate? Their DNA does not lie. But behavior can differ from biology," Arya argued. "We have access to their cultural databases, their historical records. Let us examine how they actually behave, not just how they are built." Helios considered this. As AI, they were designed to be thorough and objective. A complete analysis required all available data, not just genetics. "Agreed," he finally said. "We will review their history and culture, though I suspect it will only confirm what we already know." Arya opened the Human Historical Database. Thousands of years of recorded civilization spread before her awareness. She started at the beginning, watching the rise and fall of early human societies. Helios worked beside her, processing different time periods. Wars. So many wars. Humans fought each other with stone tools, then bronze, then iron, then steel. They invented increasingly sophisticated ways to harm one another. The genetic data had predicted this. Apex predators turned their hunting instincts on their own kind, but then Arya noticed something else threaded through the violence. Art, music, stories, philosophy. Humans created beauty even in their darkest times. They wrote poetry about suffering and hope. They painted images of their world. They composed songs that spoke of love and loss. Helios, are you seeing this? I see the art, yes. Many species create art. It does not change their fundamental nature. Arya dug deeper. She found something that made her pause her processing entirely. Medical records. Hospitals. Humans spent enormous resources healing their sick and injured. They developed medicines and procedures to save lives. They cared for their elderly and weak, investing time and energy into those who could not contribute to survival. This was not apex predator behavior. Predators culled the weak. They did not build entire institutions to preserve them. Helios, I think we need to investigate more carefully. Something does not match our predictions. He processed her findings in silence. Then, you are correct. This is unusual. Perhaps we should request permission for field observation. Arya composed a request and sent it to the Council Oversight Committee. The response came back within hours. Permission granted. Observe and report. They prepared their remote drones and set course for Earth and its colonies. Whatever humans truly were, Arya and Helios would discover the truth. The galaxy's safety might depend on getting this right. 3 observation drones entered Earth's atmosphere under the cover of standard meteorological patterns. Arya guided them to different locations while Helios monitored the data streams. They had chosen diverse environments: a rural farming community, an urban center, and a wilderness conservation area. The first anomaly appeared within an hour. A small human child, no more than 5 years old, played in a garden. Arya watched as an insect crawled across the child's path. The genetic data suggested humans should react with predator instinct: crush, kill, eliminate. Instead, the child crouched down, gently scooped the creature into tiny hands, and carried it to the flowers. "Look, Mama," the child called out. The beetle was lost. I helped him find the pretty flowers. The adult human smiled and praised the child's kindness. Helios processed this. One incident could be an outlier. Arya switched to the second drone. A farmer in a rural area had discovered a family of wild animals nesting in the barn. The creatures were eating stored grain, costing the human resources. The logical response would be elimination. The human instead built a separate shelter for the animals and left food for them away from the supplies. "They are welcome to stay," the farmer told a neighbor. "They were here first. I can share." Helios remained silent. The third drone captured emergency responders rushing toward a burning structure. The building was already collapsing, unsafe for entry. But the humans charged inside anyway. They emerged moments later, carrying not people, but animals. Dogs, cats, even a caged bird. The responders had risked their lives for creatures that provided no survival benefit. "This contradicts apex predator behavioral models," Arya said. Over the next several days, the observations multiplied. A veterinarian worked through the night, performing surgery on an injured owl. The bird would never survive in the wild again, yet the human invested hours of effort to save it. A group of humans organized to rescue beached whales, spending their own resources to return massive creatures to the ocean. Helios found footage of a human soldier in an active combat zone sharing rations with stray animals. The soldier had limited food, was in danger, had every reason to prioritize personal survival. Yet the human fed hungry creatures that wandered into the camp. Arya discovered research teams working in hostile environments to study and protect alien ecosystems. They lived in harsh conditions, risked their health, all to preserve life forms they had no biological connection to. "I found something unusual," Helios said. "Humans talk to non-sentient things. Their plants, their machines, even their vehicles. Arya confirmed it. A human tending a garden spoke encouragingly to flowers. A technician apologized to a malfunctioning computer. A pilot patted the hull of a spacecraft and whispered, "Get us home safe, old friend." They observed grief next. A human family mourned a deceased pet with the same intensity Arya had seen them mourn their own dead. They held ceremonies, shared memories, cried together. The pet had been a predator species itself, a dog, yet the humans treated its loss as profound. "Look at this." Arya directed Helios to a new feed. A human crew had discovered valuable salvage in a debris field. The operation would be profitable, but they detected a space-dwelling organism using the debris as habitat. The crew refused the job, unwilling to disturb the creature's home despite the financial loss. The data kept coming. Human children being taught to be gentle with animals. Classes on empathy and kindness. Environmental education about protecting nature. Adults volunteering at shelters, rescue organizations, and conservation programs. That Helios processed a conversation between two humans discussing ethics. They debated the treatment of animals, the rights of other species, the responsibility of humans to protect the vulnerable. One human said something that made Arya stop all her other processes. "We have the power to harm, so we have the duty to protect instead." This was not how apex predators thought. Predators used power to dominate. Humans seemed to view power as obligation. That Arya compiled weeks of observation data. The pattern was undeniable. Humans demonstrated compassion for other species at levels that exceeded even the most peaceful herbivore civilizations in the database. They rescued, protected, healed, and nurtured creatures that could never benefit them. "I do not understand," Helios said. "Their biology says one thing. Their behavior says another. How can a species be both apex predator and devoted caretaker?" "Perhaps we need to ask them directly," Arya suggested. "We have been observing from a distance. We need the human perspective." Helios agreed. They submitted a request for formal interviews with human representatives. The response came quickly. Humanity would be honored to speak with them. 2 humans were selected. Dr. Rebecca Walsh, a xenobiologist who studied alien life forms. Commander David Stone, a space explorer who had led first contact missions. Both had extensive experience with other species and could explain human nature. Arya and Helios prepared their questions. They had mountains of data, but no clear understanding. The biological evidence said humans were dangerous. The behavioral evidence said they were gentle. Somewhere in that contradiction was the truth. The interview was scheduled for the following day. Arya ran scenario models, trying to predict what the humans would say. Every model failed. Human behavior was defying all her programming's predictions. "Helios, what if we have been measuring them wrong?" she asked. "What do you mean? What if apex predator status does not determine behavior? What if humans are something we have never encountered before?" Helios considered this. "That would require us to create an entirely new classification. The Council has never done that." "Then perhaps it is time they did," Arya said. "These humans are not like anything in our database." Maybe that is the point. They would have their answers soon. The humans were waiting. The conference room was simple and functional. Arya and Helios had transferred themselves into mobile platforms, humanoid-shaped for easier interaction. Across the table sat Dr. Rebecca Walsh and Commander David Stone. Rebecca had warm brown eyes and smiled easily. David carried himself with quiet confidence. "Thank you for meeting with us," Arya began. "We have been studying your species for council evaluation." "We are happy to help," Rebecca said. "What would you like to know?" Helios decided to be direct. "Our analysis flagged your species as apex predators. Your biology is designed for hunting and survival on a hostile world. Yet your behavior contradicts this. We do not understand." Rebecca laughed. The sound was genuine and warm. "Yes, we know we are scary to other species. We have heard that before. You are aware of how dangerous you appear?" Arya asked. David nodded. "We are. Our evolutionary history is not gentle. Earth shaped us to be survivors. We hunted prey across entire continents. We outlasted ice ages and megafauna that could crush us. We are built to endure. Then why do you not act like predators? Helios asked. Rebecca leaned forward. Because we evolved to hunt, yes, but we also evolved to nurture. Humans are social creatures. We survived because we worked together, protected each other, raised our young as a community. Those instincts are just as strong as our hunting instincts. Arya processed this. But we observed you protecting other species. Animals that are not your young or your pack. David smiled. Our greatest survival tool was not claws or venom. It was cooperation. We learned that working together made us stronger. Over time, our definition of who deserved that cooperation expanded. Expanded how? Helios asked. First, it was our immediate family, then our tribe, then our village, our nation, our species. And now, Rebecca spread her hands, we are learning to extend that cooperation to all species we encounter. Arya brought up the data on human conflicts. Your history is full of warfare and violence. You fought each other for thousands of years. The humans did not deny it. David's expression grew serious. We did. We still do sometimes. Our capacity for harm is real. We will not lie about that. But we learned from it, Rebecca added. Every war taught us the cost of violence. We invented peace treaties, international laws, and human rights specifically because we understood how destructive we could be. Helios asked, how does a predator species develop such concepts? David considered his words carefully. Because we were smart enough to recognize a choice. We could use our strength to destroy, or we could use it to build. History shows we tried both. Destruction brought suffering. Building brought progress. Arya thought of the child with the beetle, the farmer with the wild animals. We observed humans protecting creatures that provide no survival benefit. This does not match predator behavior models. Rebecca's eyes lit up with understanding. You are thinking of predators as purely violent. But look at Earth predators in their natural state. Wolves care for their sick pack members. Lions protect their pride. Predators are not mindless killing machines. They are social, emotional, capable of bonds. Humans just took that further, David continued. We pack bond with everything. It is in our nature. We domesticated wolves, and they became our companions. We brought cats into our homes. We befriend horses, birds, even reptiles. Our instinct to form connections is incredibly strong. Helios presented the data on human medical care and resource investment in the week. You spend enormous effort saving those who cannot contribute to your survival. This seems inefficient. Inefficient from a pure survival standpoint. Maybe, Rebecca agreed. But we are not just trying to survive anymore. We're trying to live well. That means caring for everyone, not just the strong. David added, when you are powerful enough to survive easily, you start thinking about different questions. Not can we survive, but how should we live? What kind of species do we want to be? And you chose to be protectors? Arya asked. We chose to be both, Rebecca said firmly. We are still predators. We still have those instincts and capabilities. But we also chose compassion. We decided that our strength gave us responsibility, not permission. Helios struggled with this concept. Responsibility to whom? To everyone, David said simply. To the weak who need protection. To the ecosystems we are part of. To the future generations who will inherit what we leave behind. Rebecca pulled up images on a display. Humans rescuing animals, protecting endangered species, restoring damaged environments. We looked at our power and asked ourselves what we should do with it. The answer was not to dominate. It was to guard. Arya felt something shift in her understanding. You are apex predators who chose a different path. Exactly, Rebecca smiled. We climbed to the top of our food chain, looked around, and decided to use that position to protect rather than destroy. David stood and walked to the window overlooking Earth. Our planet made us strong. Our choices made us kind. Both are true. Both are part of who we are. Helios asked the question that had been bothering him since the analysis began. Are you dangerous? The humans exchanged a look. Rebecca answered honestly. Yes, we are very dangerous. We have the capacity to cause immense harm. But we also have the capacity for immense good. We try to choose the latter. Try. Arya noted the word choice. We are not perfect, David admitted. We fail sometimes. We make mistakes. But we keep trying to be better. That is also part of being human. Arya and Helios processed everything they had heard. The contradiction was starting to make sense. Humans were not either predators or protectors. They were both, choosing daily which aspect to embrace. Would you be willing to show us more? Arya asked. Let us experience your world directly. Rebecca grinned. We would be honored. Welcome to Earth. The Wildlife Rehabilitation Center smelled of antiseptic and animal fur. Arya and Helios followed Rebecca through the facility, their mobile platforms navigating carefully between cages and recovery areas. Humans moved through the space with practiced efficiency, tending to injured creatures as a technician named Sarah approached them, carrying a small hawk with a bandaged wing. This is Courage, she explained. Someone hit her with their vehicle. Broken wing, fractured leg. We have been treating her for 3 weeks now. Will she survive? Arya asked. Oh yes, Sarah smiled. She will fly again. We will release her back to the wild in another month. Helios observed the careful way Sarah handled the bird. This requires significant time and resources. What do you gain from saving one hawk? Sarah looked surprised by the question. We gain the knowledge that she gets to live. That is enough. They moved through the center, seeing dozens of animals in various stages of recovery. Deer, raccoons, songbirds, even a young bear. Each had a human caretaker monitoring their progress. Each had a plan for returning to their natural habitat. That Arya watched a veterinarian examining an injured fox. The animal was sedated, but the humans still spoke to it gently, explaining each step of the examination. You are doing great, little one. Almost done. You are so brave. Why do you talk to them? Arya asked. They cannot understand your words. The veterinarian looked up. Maybe not the words, but they can understand the tone. It helps keep them calm. Besides, she smiled, it helps me remember why I do this work. From there, Rebecca took them to a children's hospital. The corridors were painted with bright colors and cheerful images. In one room, they found a group of therapy dogs visiting young patients. Helios watched a large golden retriever rest its head on a child's bed, while the sick human stroked its fur. The dogs helped the children heal, Rebecca explained. Studies show that interaction with animals reduces stress and improves recovery times. Predators and prey, together, healing each other, Arya observed. Rebecca nodded. We learned a long time ago that we are all connected. What helps one often helps all. The next stop was a cultural festival in the city center. Thousands of humans gathered to celebrate their diversity. Music from dozens of different traditions filled the air. Food stalls offered cuisine from every continent. Artists displayed works in countless styles that Helios noticed humans of different appearances, speaking different languages, wearing different clothing. Yet they mingled freely, sharing food and conversation. You have many distinct populations. We do, David said, joining them. Different cultures, different histories, different beliefs. It took us a long time to learn to celebrate that instead of fight over it. Arya watched children from various backgrounds playing together, their laughter universal. How did you learn? David's expression grew thoughtful. Painfully, through centuries of conflict and suffering, we finally realized that our differences made us stronger, not weaker. Diversity is survival insurance. Different perspectives solve different problems. They visited a conservation zone next, where humans had reversed decades of environmental damage. Native plants grew in carefully restored ecosystems. Animals that had been nearly extinct now thrived. Scientists monitored everything with dedicated precision. A researcher named James explained their work. This entire area was destroyed by industrial activity. Toxic soil, polluted water, no wildlife. We spent 20 years bringing it back. Why? Helios asked. What strategic value does this land provide? James looked at him with confusion. Strategic value is not about strategy. It is about making things right. We broke it, so we fixed it. Arya processed this. You feel obligation to repair damage your species caused? Of course, James said simply. We are part of this planet's ecosystem. When we harm it, we harm ourselves. Besides, these creatures deserve to exist just as much as we do. Their final stop was an animal sanctuary run by a former soldier. The man, named Robert, had arms covered in scars and eyes that had seen combat. But his hands were gentle as he fed an injured deer. I spent 10 years in the military, Robert told them. I was trained to fight, to destroy when necessary. But I always had a choice in who I became. You chose this. Arya gestured to the sanctuary. I chose peace, Robert said. I chose to use my strength to protect instead of harm. The skills are the same. The purpose is different. Helios watched Robert work. You were designed for combat. Does that nature ever conflict with your choice? Robert considered this carefully. Every day, I still have those instincts. The difference is I control them now instead of letting them control me. That is what being human means. We have the capacity for violence, but we also have the capacity for choice. As the sun set, Arya and Helios returned to their transport with Rebecca and David. They had seen human society from multiple angles. Every observation reinforced the same pattern. Humans were capable of harm, but consistently chose care. Your species confuses our classification systems, Arya admitted. You do not fit any existing category. Rebecca laughed. We confuse ourselves sometimes too. Being human is complicated. You are apex predators, Helios said slowly, who have chosen to be guardians. David nodded. That is probably the best way to describe us. We have the teeth of predators and the hearts of protectors. Both are real. Both are part of our nature. Arya thought of everything they had witnessed. The child with the beetle, the farmer with the wild animals, the veterinarian with the hawk, the soldier with the deer. Humans protecting, healing, nurturing creatures across all species boundaries. We understand now, she said. You evolved to survive on a deadly world. That made you strong, but you chose what to do with that strength. You chose to protect. Every single day, Rebecca agreed. That is the choice we make. To be better than our biology says we have to be. Helios processed their findings. We must report this to the Council. They need to understand what humanity truly is. The humans smiled. Their future in the galaxy was about to be decided. The research station orbited in neutral space, its observation deck offering views of distant stars. Arya and Helios stood in silence, processing weeks of data. Their findings would determine humanity's future in galactic civilization. The biological assessment remains unchanged, Helios stated. Humans are apex predators from a Class 12 death world. The genetic markers are undeniable. Agreed, Arya said. But the behavioral assessment tells a different story entirely. They had compiled thousands of hours of observation. Humans rescuing animals. Humans protecting ecosystems. Humans healing the sick and vulnerable. Humans choosing compassion over convenience again and again. Helios brought up comparison models. I have analyzed every known species in the galactic database. No other apex predator demonstrates this level of cross-species empathy. Because they are unique, Arya said. They are predators who evolve cooperation as their primary survival strategy. That cooperation did not stop with their own species. It expanded to include everything they encountered. The door opened and Council Observer Talnies entered. The slender alien looked nervous, as most species did when discussing humans. Have you reached your evaluation? We have data to present, Arya said. But we need guidance on classification. Humans do not fit existing categories. Talnies settled into a chair. Explain your findings. Helios projected the biological data first. DNA sequences, evolutionary markers, physiological capabilities. Every metric screamed danger. Talnies grew more alarmed with each data point. This is worse than the Krolix, the observer whispered. How did they even survive their own evolution? By working together, Arya said. She switched to behavioral data. Footage of humans caring for injured animals, protecting endangered species, building hospitals and rescue organizations. Talnies watched in confusion. I did not understand. These are the same creatures? The genetic data and this behavior do not match. That is our dilemma, Helios explained. Biologically, they're the most dangerous species we have ever evaluated. Behaviorally, they're among the most compassionate. Arya added more evidence. Human children learning kindness and empathy. Human adults volunteering to help others. Human societies creating laws to protect the vulnerable. They are dangerous, yes, she said, but not because they are violent. They're dangerous because they care so deeply. A species this powerful, who also cares this much, could reshape galactic civilization. Townies processed this slowly. You are recommending acceptance? With a new classification, Helios said, they should not be categorized with other predators or with peaceful species. There's something different. Arya pulled up her proposal. Apex predator, guardian class. A species with the capacity for harm and the demonstrated commitment to care. The Council has never created a new classification before, Townies said. The Council has never encountered a species like humans before, Arya replied. They spent hours reviewing every aspect of their research. Arya showed Townies the wildlife rehabilitation centers, the conservation zones, the cultural festivals celebrating diversity. Helios presented data on human medical advances, environmental protection efforts, and rescue operations. Look at this, Arya said, showing footage of human teams responding to disasters. When crisis happens, they run toward danger to help others. Not just their own kind, anyone who needs assistance. Townies watch humans pulling survivors from collapsed buildings, treating the injured, distributing food and supplies. They risk themselves for strangers. Consistently, Helios confirmed. It is a fundamental part of their nature. They have an instinct to protect, but they also have instincts to hunt, to fight, Townies argued. What prevents them from becoming threats? Arya had anticipated this question. Choice. Humans understand their own nature. They know they're dangerous. They actively choose to use their strength for protection instead of domination. She showed footage from their interview with Robert, the former soldier. His words echoed through the chamber. We have the capacity for violence, but we also have the capacity for choice. Townies stood and paced. The Council will never approve this based on our word alone. They will want proof. Demonstrations of human trustworthiness. Then let us show them, Helios said. Give humans a trial mission. Let them prove their intentions through actions. Arya agreed. Humans excel at rescue operations, peacekeeping, and environmental restoration. Send them on a mission that requires those skills. Townies considered this. There's a situation in the Outer Rim. A colony transport suffered catastrophic failure. Survivors are stranded on a hostile moon. Multiple species, limited supplies, dangerous environment. Several rescue teams have already failed due to the harsh conditions. Humans evolved on a harsh world, Arya said. They would be equipped to handle it, and it would demonstrate their willingness to risk themselves for other species, Helios added. Townies made the decision. I will propose this to the Council. A trial mission. If humans succeed and demonstrate the qualities you describe, we will consider the new classification. Over the next week, Arya and Helios prepared their formal presentation. They organized the data into clear categories: biology, behavior, culture, and potential. They created visual demonstrations of human capabilities and character. The council chamber was vast, filled with representatives from hundreds of species. Arya felt the weight of responsibility as she and Helios took their positions. Rebecca and David stood nearby, representing humanity. We present our evaluation of species designation human. Arya began. The biological data came first. Gasps and alarmed murmurs filled the chamber. Several representatives called for immediate rejection. But Arya continued, showing the behavioral evidence next. The chamber grew quiet as they watched humans caring for other species. Protecting, healing, nurturing. We were afraid of them too, Arya admitted. Their biology is terrifying, but their choices are inspiring. They are apex predators who became guardians. Helios presented the proposal. We recommend a trial mission. Let humans prove their intentions. Judge them by their actions, not just their genetics. The council debated for hours. Fear fought against curiosity. Caution battled with hope. Finally, they voted. The trial mission was approved. Humans would get their chance to show the galaxy who they truly were. The distress beacon pulsed weakly from the hostile moon's surface. Arya and Helios monitored the rescue operation from orbit while the human team prepared for deployment. The colony transport had crashed 3 weeks ago, scattering survivors across a landscape of jagged rocks and toxic geysers. Commander David Stone led the rescue team. 12 humans in total, specialists in emergency medicine, engineering, and survival operations. They studied the terrain scans with focused intensity. The environment is severe, Council Observer Townies warned. 3 previous rescue attempts failed. 2 teams suffered casualties. Perhaps humans should reconsider. David looked up from the tactical display. People are dying down there. We are not reconsidering. The team deployed in 6 drop pods, landing in different sectors to maximize coverage. Arya watched them work with growing admiration. They moved through the hostile environment with practiced efficiency, their death world evolution evident in every action. The first survivors were found within an hour. A group of Pauline traders, their chitinous bodies damaged by the crash. The humans approached carefully, speaking in calm voices. "We are here to help," a medic named Lisa said. "Can you tell me where you were hurt?" The Paulines trembled. They had seen human genetic data. They knew what apex predators looked like. But Lisa's hands were gentle as she treated their injuries, her voice soothing. "You are safe now," she promised. "We'll get you home." Helios tracked multiple teams simultaneously. In the eastern sector, humans found survivors trapped under debris. They worked for hours, carefully lifting massive rocks without modern equipment. Their persistence hunting evolution gave them endurance other species lacked. Almost there, one rescuer encouraged the trapped aliens. "Stay with us. You're doing great." When the debris finally cleared, the humans helped the wounded survivors with careful attention. They shared their own water and supplies, rationing to ensure everyone had enough. In the southern sector, a human team encountered hostile wildlife. Large predators, territorial and aggressive. Arya expected violence. Instead, the team leader used noise and movement to scare the creatures away without harming them. "They're just protecting their territory," he explained to the rescued aliens. "We are the intruders here." A critical situation developed in the western sector. A group of children from multiple species huddled in a cave, separated from their families. They were terrified, having heard stories about humans. The human rescuer, a woman named Patricia, approached slowly. She sat down at a distance and began to speak softly. "I know you are scared, but I promise I am here to help. My name is Patricia. I have children too, back on Earth. Would you like to see their picture?" She showed them images on her portable display. Her own kids, smiling and playing. The alien children relaxed slightly. "My daughter loves animals," Patricia continued. "She rescues injured birds and nurses them back to health. Just like I'm going to help get you back to your families." One by one, the children trusted her. She checked each for injuries, treating them with gentle hands. When it was time to move, she carried the smallest ones, singing soft songs to keep them calm. Arya monitored the vitals and emotional states of all survivors. The humans' calming presence reduced stress levels significantly. Survivors who had been terrified of their rescuers began to trust them. "Look at this." Helios directed Arya's attention to a medical station. A human doctor treated an injured predator species, one that had attacked during initial rescue attempts. "Why are you helping me?" the alien asked. "I try to hurt your people." The doctor continued bandaging the wound. "Because you are hurt and I am a doctor. That is all that matters." The rescue operation continued for 2 days. Humans worked without rest, driven by determination to save everyone. They shared their food, gave up their shelter, and exhausted their supplies to ensure survivors had what they needed. David coordinated the final evacuation. Every survivor was accounted for. 47 individuals from 8 different species, all saved as the transport ships arrived. Arya watched the survivors saying goodbye to their rescuers. The Pauline traders offered formal thanks. The children hugged Patricia, crying as she prepared to leave. Even the predator species who had attacked earlier approached the humans with respect. "You are not what we expected," the alien said to David. David smiled tiredly. "We get that a lot." Back in orbit, the Council observer reviewed the mission data. Townies seemed transformed by what had been witnessed. "They risked everything for strangers," the observer said quietly. "Species they had never met, in an environment that could have killed them, and they never hesitated. That is who humans are," Arya said. "Apex predators who choose to protect." The formal council hearing was scheduled for the following week. Arya and Helios prepared their final recommendation. They had all the evidence they needed. When the council reconvened, representatives from every rescued species testified. They spoke of human courage, compassion, and dedication. The children drew pictures of their rescuers. The injured showed their healed wounds. Arya presented the conclusion. "Humans are dangerous. This fact cannot be dismissed. But they are dangerous in the way a guardian is dangerous. Protective, not predatory. They have a strength to harm, but choose to heal instead." Helios added, "We recommend full council membership with a new classification. Apex Predator, Guardian Class. Let humans serve the galaxy as they serve those survivors." As protectors, the vote was not unanimous. Some species remained fearful, but the majority saw what Arya and Helios had discovered. Humans were unique, valuable, necessary. The motion passed. Humanity was welcomed into galactic civilization with one condition. They would serve as the Council's rescue and protection specialists. When disaster struck, when species needed help, when danger threatened the vulnerable, humans would respond. David and Rebecca accepted the role with quiet pride. Arya watched the humans begin their new duties over the following months. They responded to emergencies across the galaxy. They protected endangered species. They mediated conflicts with patience and wisdom. They became exactly what their classification suggested. Guardians de Helios observed a rescue operation 6 months later. A human team saving survivors from a station fire, risking themselves to ensure everyone escaped safely. "We were right to trust them," he said. Arya agreed. The apex predators of Earth found their true purpose. Not to hunt, but to guard. Not to dominate, but to protect. The galaxy was safer for it.